Probably the question I get asked the most is this one. When do you let a sales lead go? All right, when do you say, okay, I got to move on to something else? You know, and here's what I've learned a lot about through the last couple of decades. One is, you hear this thing, oh, he or she won't get back to me, they won't call, they've gone dark and they won't return my messages. It's likely because we didn't qualify them very well. In fact, what I find is if you've got a very good process and you're qualifying and you're having the right conversations along the way, they're actually closing themselves. And when they fall off the radar screen, if you will, it's probably because of something unique or something disruptive's happened at the company. So let me tell you how I like to break this down. The thing that we want to do is to make sure that we don't lose them is to qualify them along the process. And what I want you to do is think about several questions, I think I've got about half a dozen here, that help you make sure that the deal is moving forward because you know these things. All right, the trick is not to avoid these questions or to just kind of pass through them. One is, what are you going to help that prospect fix? What's the solution you're going to provide specifically? Secondly, who really makes the decision? Not the person you're talking to, but who is really making the decision in the company? What's the date and the specific next step that you have? We're going to do this by then. And they've confirmed that with you, the prospect has. The next one is, do they have the money now? Right? I've heard this a lot. It's one of the reasons why people fall off the radar screen, they get back to me later is, oh, we don't have the money now, but we've got it next year. Ask that question. Do you have the money to join this association now? What's the deadline for the final go or no go? When do we want to decide to move forward or not? I think it's really important to have that conversation as early as possible because that gives you a framework of when this ought to be done and the prospect agrees to it. That's the important part. Who else are you thinking about joining instead of us? This kind of vets out whether you're moving on something really important and urgent and they're going to make a call one way or the other, or they're just kind of listening to you. I think it's important to know that. If you don't join, who are you going to join? If you don't sign up for us, who are you going to sign up for instead to take care of this problem? And then finally, what could keep this from happening? And ask them. This is a really good question to ask early on because then you'll kind of see where they are. Hey, what could really keep this from occurring? What could keep you from joining the association this year? The more you know about these questions and the more conversations you're having about these items, the less likely they're going to fall off the radar screen because you've identified who it is and when the next steps are and when the deadline is. Okay? That will help you alleviate this problem of them falling off the radar screen. And then the other thing I want you to know in the back of your head or by your metrics is know your data on how long and how much work it takes to close a new deal. I'll give you an example. If you say it takes 10 contacts to close a membership within 30 days and you're going to now 15 to 20 contacts and it's now 60 days, you've got to have a really good reason to keep them in your pipeline. So, when do you let a sales lead go? When you don't know anything about the sales process and once it starts to live way outside of your data. That's my advice for you today. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you got any other questions, send them my way. Thanks.